Hello, welcome to Frank's School. 140th day of the 5th year, first video. Portugal and the Alps. Now I'm going to start a third prequel. This is a long wind-up to a description of a European trip which I may or may not take, but I have my reasons. And I said I was going to take my time with this. I see no reason not to take my time. Now, this third prequel, and it's the last one, then I'm going to actually tell you about the proposed trip, either for me, no, not alone, I won't do it alone, either for me and a friend or with others, or for you, without me, that would be fun. Today I'll take it from Brazil to Morocco. Now why I'm doing this? Well, it's because this was the first time that I made the trip, which I would call Portugal and the Alps. I didn't think of it that way back at that time. 1970 that was. What is that? 6 years ago? It would be 47 years ago. But I remember parts of it very clearly. And those are the parts, well, I'll tell you about some of those parts. I'm always looking for formative days, what I call formative days. Not only the trip that we sort of stumbled across, well, we planned it very well, but had no idea that it would ultimately become what I feel is the perfect way to see Europe without the big famous cities. Anyway, well, I'll just get it started today. We had, Joyce and I had gone back to Catolé de Rocha. It was going to be for a third year. We'd been there for 2 years now. And I had done a lot of study and research in a way based on some of the stuff I'd learned in going to Peru. But in any case, it was going well. The project was going well. A Cooperativa de Catolé, Artesanal Mista de Catolé de Rocha, the cooperative, the Artisans Cooperative of Catolé de Rocha was established. We'd gotten a grant. They were going to build a building. As a matter of fact, while we were gone, they essentially built the building without us. But it was going well enough that it seemed to be justifiable to go back a third year. That's not normal. In the Peace Corps, it's usually 2 years. But our project was a success, and we decided to re-up, I think they called it, or something like that. And before that third year, we were given a ticket to go home to visit and come back. Now that ticket was open. So basically, each one of us had an open ticket from Recife, I guess it would be, Recife in the northeast, to Boston and back. And there was a tour guide, or not a tour guide, a travel agent in Recife who really worked on this. I think he got into it. It became sort of his masterpiece in a way to design this trip for us. I wanted to take Joyce to Europe. Well, I wanted to see Europe again, too. And was there a way to sort of bend the ticket around? And yes, there was. His first idea, which ultimately I don't think he did it that way, but his first idea was to route it from Rio de Janeiro, in English you say, to Iceland and back, and then bend it out. You were allowed to do a certain amount of bending with any given trip. And stop as many times as you wanted. You just had to pay the airport tax, at least with this open ticket. And he worked on it and designed this trip for us. Ultimately, we had to pay a little bit extra, but it wasn't very much. And then, of course, the airport taxes. Well, anyway, we took, it seems, I'm almost certain we took a bus down to Rio. And then from Rio began our flight. And we flew to Dakar, Senegal. That's where I had been 3 years before, 1967, that summer, training for the Peace Corps. I was in Senegal, and so I knew Dakar. And in Dakar, we could have just stopped and kept going. But I had wanted to spend a day or two there, partly to show Joyce and partly to see it again. We did that. Found it was amazingly expensive. In a way, we couldn't get out of there fast enough because we couldn't afford to stay there. everything that Westerners wanted, hotel, food, anything, was so expensive. Now we got to the Ile de Gorée, Ile de Gorée, Ile, see if I can write French, Gorée, Ile de Gorée, a slave island off the coast. We did that, which tourists do. I had been there before, and as I said before, I have a few slides that we took. Not very many, but I think I have. Maybe I had those slides from earlier. I don't know. Anyway, we did that, and really just had to get out of there as soon as possible. And then we flew on to Casablanca, Morocco. I had been there before. I mean, this, if you had followed this, you would see that when I returned in 1967 from that summer back to Boston, from Dakar, I'd again gone to Casablanca and then on to Lisbon. And that's where I think I'll stop now. I wouldn't say that there were any formative days during this time. But Morocco was different. Morocco is worth a little bit of my explaining the effect that Morocco had on me. So, all right, the third prequel is begun. Bye for now.